Do you remember what dentists were told whenever they would question how prior authorization requests were being processed by TMHP?
Objection form.
I don't remember who the doctors were, but there were many in the room.
But do you remember them asking the question?
Yes.
What did HHSC tell them about the prior authorization process?
Objection form.
At that particular stakeholder meeting, there was TMHP present, and it was TMHP that answered to the providers what their processes were.
Okay.
But there was never any direction as to the PA specialists at that particular time. If I remember correctly, in one particular stakeholder meeting, Dr. Felkner spoke up and said that he trained the specialists on what to look for and that he didn't look at all of the diagnostic tools. At which case, the providers that were there literally threw their hands up in the air and said, why do we submit these diagnostic tools if you're not looking at them?
When was that?
Oh my goodness. I want to say 2008, somewhere around in there. But I can't remember exactly when, because we had stakeholder meetings every quarter.
Had they had...
Every quarter.
When did the dentist and dental providers begin asking about the prior authorization process?
Objection form.
They were always asking about it. They were always asking about issues and when it came to prior authorization, but it was not just orthodontic prior authorization, it was prior authorization for all dental procedures.
Right. So thank you for the answer. I want to clarify. When it comes to dentists' concerns about orthodontic prior authorization, are you saying that from the time you got there in 2006, dentists were already asking, how are these things being looked at and what criteria are being used to approve or deny them?
Objection form.
I don't know that from the time I arrived there. I was not a part of any stakeholder meetings.
Okay. When did you start going to stakeholder meetings?
They probably weren't established until 2007 or 2008.
Okay. From the time that you started going to them then?
Right.
Was that a consistent topic of discussion?
No.
Okay. So then my question is, when did it become part of the stakeholder discussion?
Objection form.
Probably later on, 2008, 2009.
If TMHP was telling the state that prior authorization requests were being reviewed and approved by qualified dental specialists or qualified dental professionals, would that message have been carried through to the providers?
Objection form.
No.
Same objection.
No. Okay. So what were providers told about who was reviewing these prior authorization requests?
Objection form.
The providers understood that they were being reviewed by a licensed dentist.
Objection form.
Starting when?
I'm sorry, did you object?
I did.
Okay.
That would be from the very beginning. I mean, and I'm taking that back to NHIC days.
Okay. And how do you know that to be true?
Same objection.
Objection form.
I don't know that to be true, but according to the Dental Practice Act, there should have been a licensed dentist reviewing all cases.
And in fact, when these were being done by NHIC, these orthodontic prior authorizations,
Yes.
the dentist knew that they were in fact being reviewed by either Dr. Orr or Dr. Shire, right?
Objection
Yes.
form.
And were the dentists told that there would be no change in the way these things were going to be approved policy-wise?
Objection
Objection
form.
form.
Their concern was when NHIC had lost the contract and the orthodontic requests were being transitioned to TMHP, they were assured that there would be no changes to policy. Everything would be the same.
And the policy, both during the NHIC tenure and after that, while TMHP handled the contract, was that a licensed dentist would review and approve every prior authorization request, correct?
Objection form.
Yes.
So is that why you believe that they were told that all of these prior authorization requests were going to be reviewed by a licensed dentist?
Objection
Yes.
form.
Were they ever told, to your knowledge, while you were there at HHSC?
Thank you.
Thank you. Were they ever told anything different?
form.
Objection form.
Not to my knowledge.
In fact, was a consistent message at dental stakeholder meetings that, to your recollection, was a consistent message to providers at dental stakeholder meetings a message that said, your prior authorization requests are being reviewed by a licensed dentist at least, or perhaps somebody more qualified even than a licensed dentist?
Objection form.
Could you explain to me who was more qualified than a licensed dentist?
A board certified orthodontist.
Yes.
Okay. So the answer to the question was, as far as you can remember, all dental stakeholder meetings carried the same message to dental providers with regard to who was reviewing orthodontic prior authorization requests.
Objection form.
Yes.
And I think there was earlier testimony that was, despite them being the dentists, being reassured that these were being reviewed by a licensed dentist, they still questioned whether that was actually being done. Because in fact, there were inconsistencies in what was being approved and what was being denied, for example, right?
Objection form.
Yes, that's what I had later learned.
Right. I mean, we saw an email earlier that talked about, I believe it was an email, it may have just been testimony, that you either fielded questions or heard questions fielded that had to do with certain Medicaid clients being submitted that had similar dental conditions. Some were approved and some were not. Isn't that right?
Objection
correct.
form.
And the dentists were saying, if this is the same process and procedure, why are we getting inconsistent results, right?
Correct.